I have to say, I really appreciate the speed at which Tabata blazes through a subject. Rather than dragging something out, he has consistently thrown us into the fray of things, and with this newest chapter he has done just that. It seems like we have predicted correctly, and Asta is up to be framed for the events of the Elf War. I didn't expect things to be happening as soon, but it looks like we're getting our confrontation with Damnatio now. So let's get into things. Hello everyone, I'm Ozzy, and this is my Black Clover 217 chapter analysis. Before we jump into any panels, I just want to say that this new color art page for Sakurai is amazing. I love the bright red in her eyes contrasting the pale bluish tone to her skin, as well as the desaturated blacks in her hair and dress. Top-notch coloring from Tabata. Good art aside, I want to get into this chapter analysis a bit differently. There are 3 distinct themes that summarize this chapter, so I want to explore and elaborate on those rather than going page by page as I've typically done. These 3 themes are the setting, the trial, and the verdict. Simple enough, but there is a lot to discuss regarding them. Starting off with the setting, the first aspect I want to talk about is the characters being sent, Asta and Sakurai. Under false pretenses, Asta and Sakurai have been sent to the Clover Kingdom Court. Why only the 2 of them? There were plenty of captains that could cooperate just as much as they could regarding the situation. Not to mention the fact that it's just the 2 of them. We could even go as far as to say that it was only Asta and Sakurai is his babysitter. So if we think about these 2 specifically, we can immediately assume that Asta is there as a scapegoat, unwillingly, but I believe Sakurai is there intentionally with the knowledge of what would transpire, evidenced by her silence and cooperation throughout. On the other side of things, we have the Magic Parliament, run by what are essentially faceless nobles, save for their president, Damnatio Kira. Judging from some statements last chapter, as well as the fact that Augustus is there, we can safely assume that these nobles may preside from the Kira house. On one side we have our obnoxious, nitwitted protagonist, and on the other we have the highly prejudiced and privileged Magic Parliament. So let's get on to the trial, if we can even call it that. The Magic Parliament begins with their evidence, pointing out that Asta is essentially of the lowest possible standing. They give him credit for being a Magic Knight, but in the same breath diminish it by pointing out that he is a Black Bull member. In regards to Sakurai, despite the fact that she is a noble and was the assistant of the first Magic Emperor, none of this goes to her records, as all of this has been lost to time. They add to their case that her horns are a sign of her malicious intent, and therefore she is equally condemnable. This is all important. Asta defends himself with the truth of the matter, but it falls on deaf ears. Sakurai goes on to point out that there is a high degree of prejudice here, despite all of the work that Julius has been putting in. Damnatio gives Asta an ultimatum. He allows Asta to offer himself as the guilty party, or to place the blame on the Magic Knights. I don't believe Asta would ever falsely charge the Magic Knights, but he also doesn't want to sidestep the truth. It seems that Damnatio places almost a blind level of faith in his scales. I feel that this will be incredibly important, as Asta's stance on sticking to the truth of the matter is sure to shine through in this seemingly neutral magic. At this point the trial is at a standstill, and Damnatio reveals his true colors by provoking Asta into making a decision using Marie as a sacrifice. The verdict is guilty, and it always has been. The Magic Parliament had no intention of being swayed, and was purely looking for someone to condemn for this whole mess. His name is basically damnation, for crying out loud. Who didn't see this coming? But more importantly, why does it matter? It is that precise question that makes this whole event so juicy. Why was Asta sent there? To be a scapegoat, of course. But not a scapegoat for the Magic Parliament's brand of justice, but rather for Julius's brand of justice. Asta presents a very powerful and very unique quality that Julius fully recognizes. As Sakurai mentioned, these are possibly the most prejudiced people in the entire kingdom. Asta's entire goal is to become Magic Emperor so that he can create a place without prejudice, and these people are in direct opposition of that. This meeting needed to happen. This parliament is the final gatekeeper that even Julius could not subdue. But even so, Asta has shown us time and time again that he can prove to others that everyone is equal and should be treated equally. But that doesn't happen with bureaucracy. That's why Julius had to send him in alone. Sekre has no ties to anyone, so she could help, but the knights and the royals would only lose their standing in the face of the parliament. Asta can't go any lower. He can fight this battle on his own terms, in his own way, and he won't drag the others through the mud. It was a gamble on Julius's part, but he decided to set up this meeting that probably wouldn't have been possible considering how lowly they regard Asta if not for the circumstances surrounding it. In regards to a fight, I don't know how that will turn out, or even if Asta will be successful now or much further down the line, and that this event is simply a stepping stone in order to get the eyes of the parliament on him to prove himself as time goes on, but I do know that this is another step in Asta's journey towards becoming the magic emperor he has envisioned. So what did you guys think of this chapter? Is my theory way off base, or does it have some merit? I'm looking forward to seeing this showdown next chapter. I'm confident it won't disappoint. But that's all for now. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more Black Clover content. Until next chapter, seal.